Hello, I'm in Rome talking about Casanova today. So I've got a Quattro Minuti con Casanova for you. I am in the Piazza di Spagna, just over there. If you turn the camera a little bit, you'll see the Spanish Steps and the house of Keats and Shelley, where they each lived for a short time. But I'm here to tell you about a house of Casanova, where he actually slept and lived for quite a while. Some months, I should say, not years. Anyway, that house just behind me, the one that has the scaffolding and the advertisements on it, it's at number 31, Piazza di Spagna. So the story goes, Casanova arrived into Rome in 1743 in the fall, and he had some letters of introduction to Father Giorgi and Cardinal Acquaviva, who were living at the Piazza di Spagna, or the Palazzo di Spagna, the Spanish embassy at the time, which is just there, and I've got a separate video for that. And he actually had rooms there first, but then he was told by these sort of mentors of his, Father Giorgi and Cardinal Acquaviva, dude, you really need to learn to speak French. French is the language that, will get you into the houses of anybody of importance. So, of course, Italian. He already spoke Venetian, but of course Italian, and then French was literally the lingua franca. So Casanova went to number 31, where there was a man named Dall'Acqua, and he became his French teacher. And so Casanova went there for his French lessons initially, but there were a few times when Dall'Acqua was ill. I guess actually more than a few times. So when Dall'Acqua wasn't feeling well, his daughter, Barbara, who Casanova refers to as Barbaruccia, which is sort of a diminutive of Barbara, Barbaruccia would take over the French lessons. And that was all fine until Barbaruccia confided in Casanova that she was in love with this other young man. Casanova never tells us his name. And then Casanova was befriended by this young man who wanted to marry Barbaruccia, but he didn't have a dowry, he didn't have the money to marry her, to be able to take care of her. And it's a very long, complicated story that went on for quite a long time, so I'm not going to go into all those details here. But basically, Casanova was drawn into it. He really knew he shouldn't get involved. And because of a number of just happenstance, coincidences, he got drawn into the story, trying to help these young lovers. What eventually happened was the two decided to elope, and on the night they were trying to leave, right here, they were supposed to get into a carriage with Barbaruccia's maid, and they weren't able to get into the carriage, the man and the maid got into the carriage. Barbaruccia had some problem with her shoe. She went to fix her shoe. By that time, the police arrested the people who were in the carriage. So Barbaruccia was completely terrified and ran actually to Casanova's rooms in, I believe, in the Piazza di Spagna, or Palazzo di Spagna. And it just gets crazier from there, because you can't go to a place like that where the cardinal lives and not have all of Rome know what's happening. So it was terrible for Casanova's reputation. Eventually it meant that he had to leave the city. Cardinal Acquaviva basically couldn't protect Casanova because he had helped this young woman try to elope. It's really much more complicated than that, but that's like the short version of the story. Anyways, that happened there, and Casanova rented rooms there, so he lived there for quite a time. And the carriage would have pulled up right here, so all of this crazy story with Barbaruccia happened right here behind me, about almost, 250, 300 years ago. So kind of crazy to think of that. But thank you for listening to another Quattro Minuti con Casanova to get another little slice of his life.